to say it.
This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me when you'll cement this.
Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in film, Devin. And today, we're going to be giving our spoiler-free thoughts, opinions, comments, questions, and concerns of A24's film, Y2K. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, the whole nine, all that social media garbage. Or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Or you can send us a text message by clicking the link in the episode notes description of this episode note that literally says send us a text message. That'll generate a text message on your side, and you can ask us any kind of movie question to your heart's content. Might be able to ask Devin why he hated Red One so much.
Go for it. I won't be able to remember much from it because it was so forgettable.
Oh my gosh, Devin, where's your Christmas spirit? I'm just joking. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I think it comes out on Prime Video, December 12th. So in a few days here. The same day as the Game Awards. Got to tune into that. Got to see what's going on. Mainly just to see what's announced. But, oh man, I think this is the 10th year for the Game Awards.
Sure. I have no idea.
I can't remember. I just know Jeff is super excited. We'll see what PlayStation buys he comes up with this time. So, as we stated before, we're going to be giving our spoiler-free thoughts of Y2K. This is a film that Devin and I have been waiting for a while for it to hit theaters. I believe this film actually, I feel like this was supposed to come out a while ago. Like, I feel like A24 has been sitting on this for a bit, but I can't remember what it was exactly. I might have to check through the trivia. But before we get any further, we will be right back after this introduction to Y2K.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we are releasing our final report on the Y2K computer problem.
Everyone's here.
We will experience no major national breakdown.
Someone's on the net.
That's pimp as hell.
You've got mail. Breakdown.
And we are back with our Y2K spoiler-free review. This film is directed by Kyle Mooney, and writers include Kyle Mooney and Evan Winter. And the synopsis, or the story, is as follows. Two high school nobodies make the decision to crash the last major celebration before the new millennium on New Year's Eve 1999. The night becomes even crazier than they ever could have dreamed when the clock strikes midnight. So this is a horror slasher, kind of, sort of, in a way, like an apocalyptic horror film, but not really too much horror. Devin, how would you categorize this?
I would just say like a horror comedy. Mostly comedy.
A horror comedy, yeah. I think that might be the best way to explain it, because, yeah, IMDb is all over the place. They have artificial intelligence as a genre. Did not know that was...
Yeah, it might be a new genre I get to deal with now.
Yeah, then teen comedy, teen horror, comedy, horror, and sci-fi. So a lot of movies nowadays have a blend of multiple genres into one, but I think a horror comedy is probably the best way to put this. And yeah, I don't know. It's Jonah Hill produced it, so congratulations to Jonah Hill on that. But yeah, let's just get straight into our thoughts here. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are, Devin, because usually you're pretty reactive whether or not you like a movie or not, because you went to go see this a few days before me, even that this movie comes in at an hour and 30 minutes, what were your initial thoughts, your spoiler-free thoughts on this film?
Yeah, going into this one, like you said, we had this in our radar for a little bit, just because A24, that always gets your attention whenever they announce something. And I've always been a fan of Kyle Mooney ever since his SNL days, and he's also done a couple movies since then. One of them being Brigsby Bear. That's the movie he did in 2017. It was actually like a surprising little comedy that was actually a nice watch. So yeah, I was excited for this one. The cast is pretty cool. Like we got some of the younger up and coming actors to join this one, including Rachel Zegler, Jaden Martell, Julian Dennison, and a couple others that I have not seen before, but we got some surprise guests as well that are very prominent. But I think the initial setup for the movie and the idea and concept for the movie is very interesting. Basically, as if Y2K actually did happen and the machines did take over. I think that's just a very cool concept to work with. So that's definitely a great start. I think the first half hour or so of the movie, it nails it. I think just the initial setup of the two friends, and then they're just going to a Y2K party, a New Year's Eve party. It's the eve of Y2K, and then at that party, things start to go wrong, and the machines are taking over. I just loved all that, like where there's just these weird machine contraptions that are just roaming around and killing people. And there was a couple cool kills in there. The machines looked cool themselves, like you could tell they were trying to go for like a more practical look, which was great. But then after that, it just feels like it kind of just fizzles out and just goes kind of a completely different direction. It felt like they didn't really know what to do after that, and they were trying to figure that out. And then there's two characters that are killed off after that party, and that I did not enjoy at all because they were two of the best characters in the movie, and then they were replaced with two characters I did not care about at all, and they were just kind of there for the ride and did not add much value to the movie, I didn't think. So I think that was definitely a strange decision to make. I don't know if we are going into full spoilers, but it was definitely a pretty crazy decision.
So yeah, we won't do full spoilers, just to kind of keep it on the beating around the bush side for people who haven't seen it just yet. But I gotta agree on a lot of things that you said. First and foremost, the aesthetic, it being 1999. I was 7 years old, so I don't remember too much of like what, like
you didn't go to a Y2K rager?
Yeah. And my warm milk and my my cookies.
I am curious what our parents were thinking. They probably didn't care. Just like, it's nothing crazy is gonna happen.
I feel like it was like, remember the Mayans when everyone thought the world was gonna end
like
on
2013.
It was
2012.
Yeah, 2012, like 2012, something like that. And then I feel like it's pretty much like that, what was supposed to happen. But at the same time, with it being 1999, people were more influenced by the media back then. But I guess nothing really has changed because a lot of people are influenced by the media today. But I feel like people are more well-informed today than back in 1999. But I was just waiting for Star Wars: The Phantom Menace to come out. So yeah, I don't recall too much. Like I remember like Y2K being like brought up in some capacity when I was a kid, but as far as like aesthetics, like, and I think we said this on the podcast multiple times, we're more so 90s babies. We're not necessarily 90s kids. Like, I mean, yeah, I was like technically a kid. Like we were technically kids in 1999, but it was more of like the toddler, phase of our of our lives. So the 2000s are more recognizable for us, but I gotta say I did not like this film Y2K. I did not like it as much as I thought it was going to. You know, it is supposed to be a little bit of a coming of age story. You know, you have Rachel Zegler in it. You have Julian Dennison, like you mentioned, and Jaden Martell. He was in Knives Out, I believe. Of course, if you know Rachel Zegler, she's been all over the place working with Spielberg. She was recently in the Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and will be in the new Snow White movie, and of course, like Shazam, things of that nature. Julian Dennison, he's been pretty much everywhere. My gosh, I think one of the first movies I saw him in was, I think it was X2. No, not X2. I'm sorry, Deadpool 2. But he's been around as well. But most of these other characters I've never really seen outside of Mason Gooding. Of course, we gotta give her a shout out to the boy who's in Scream, and you know will not be in the next Scream movie, but that's fine. It was nice to see a few familiar faces in this film. But as I said, I didn't like this. I went into this movie wanting to like it so much because it's right up both of our alleys. It is like that coming of age, like horror comedy type of movie, more so horror comedy than coming of age, but it's sprinkled in there a little bit. But yeah, it was the first 30 minutes, like it was good, but I was like, okay, like when are we going to get to like the good stuff? And I feel like it took about 30 minutes to get there. But you know, when crap hits the fan, crap does hit the fan, and it goes out in the big way. As soon as they get to the party, that is when everything just goes down. But it ramps up a bit, and then it's almost like this movie was trying to get airborne and it couldn't quite get there. And I do agree with you, Devin. It kind of fizzles out towards the end. I was not that I was lost, but I was like, this is not what I was expecting to happen.
It's very silly, just like very dumb, like random, like like purposely, like just off the wall.
I love off the wall stuff. It's just I feel like there was like a million different things they were trying to have the audience keep up with at once. And I gotta say, Jaden Martell as Eli, as the main character, did not care for him all that much. It's not that he did a terrible job acting, because, you know, he was only done what he was told to do director wise. And I think what he was doing was fine, but I think it was the writing of his character where he wasn't that interesting to me. Like he was written very dry, and maybe that was the point, but he didn't have like, you know, this is supposed to be like this foil between him and Julian's character and Julian's character's name was Danny, between Eli and Danny, kind of like the friendships that we've seen in like Good Boys or Superbad or even Booksmart. Like I feel like you can write a character, like you can have two characters that are oil and water, but you have to like write for their strengths in different ways. And I feel
you also need you need both of them. That was kind of the main issue.
Yeah. You need both of them. Yes. You definitely need both of them. That is, yes. You need both of them throughout the movie, all together. But yeah, it was fine. I came out disappointed. This is probably the first time in a while where, you know, even though I don't think I'm as high on this movie as I want it to be, there are parts that I liked. Like you mentioned, the aesthetics when it comes to like AOL and just obviously like all the 90s references. Like we're starting to get into that age of films where more movies are starting to be set in the 90s. But I think it's really going to hit for us when they start setting things in like the early 2000s.
Like Dee Dee.
Like Dee Dee. Yes, exactly. Just like Dee Dee. That's a perfect example. And, you know, all the references and everything here it's great. You know, the writing could have been better for some of the characters. I did chuckle at a lot of the jokes But there was that sauce was not there for this movie. And I was like, man, A24 has been having a great year of films that have been released. Of course, this is just one of many films that just, to me, hasn't met the bar of the other films that have hits. But it's a fun movie. It's just that it left me a little disappointed. But the ending was the ending credits were pretty funny.
Yeah, because they showed a nice character.
Yeah, they exactly. And I think having that character being one of the characters that, are removed from the story, it's almost like the movie was trying to get us to care about the other kids.
Yeah, they were trying to like bring out the emotional side of the movie too much, like I think so. The dramatic, and it didn't really have a place at the end of the day, and they were trying to force it. It feels like.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think that was the thing. They were trying to force us to care about most of these characters when it was really about Eli and Danny, and that's what the entire movie should have been about. And of course, Rachel Zegler playing Laura, who is like the girl that Eli is trying to, make him notice, because Laura's like one of the popular girls, and Eli's literally one of the jokes I just thought of. Can't say it right now because it'll ruin so much. But my God, it was so funny. The nickname that they gave Eli, like, how was your theater when you went to go see this film?
There was just some laughs here and there, but it wasn't like outrageous. There was just a few people in there.
Okay, mine was surprisingly not packed, but there was at least maybe 20 of us in the theater. I was surprised for an A24 movie like this. But yeah, there was just that sauce just wasn't there. I think the buddy comedy aspect is what's missing from this movie. And like you said, I think they really trying to lean more into the emotional side, and it just doesn't hit like at all. At least for me, not trying to bring the movie down. It's just, I wish it was better. I wanted to like this movie so much, and it just fell flat for me.
Yeah, it just feels like they had the concept, and it's a great concept, but then they didn't really know where to take it, and that's just where the movie ended up.
Yeah, and it's like, and I feel like if there was any studio to take it to that level, it would have been A24, but it just doesn't, and that's what I'm kind of sad about.
And I feel like there's definitely going to be an audience that's going to love this. Like,
yeah,
if you are under the influence, for example, I think this will be a great time, because that's what a lot of the movie is about. There's a lot of drug use, so extra thing. That's definitely one way to make sure you enjoy it.
And of course, Eduardo Franco is also in this movie. If you don't know who he is, he's been literally everywhere. The Binge on Hulu, we've watched that, and then there's It's a Wonderful Binge, which is the Christmas version of that. If you've seen Stranger Things season 4, you've seen him around. He was also in Booksmart.
He's becoming a great character actor.
Yeah, he really is. But there are times where it's like, man, like it's like, I don't want to say he's typecast, but like he kind of is at the same time right now, where he's literally playing like the same character in every single project that he's in.
That was one of the funnier parts. Without spoiling it, his I don't know how to explain it. Just his exit.
Dude,
it was very unexpected.
It was so unexpected, and I was laughing so much.
There's a lot of funny like shots like that where the camera just like lingers on a little too long, and it's just like, it's kind of that kind of humor.
That was it's dumb. It's dumb humor. And there's a lot of dumb humor in this movie. I'm sorry. I just keep thinking about it, and it is so fun.
I don't even remember what he said, but it was just, I think it was like X Games or something.
Something like that. He was like, yo, check it. And it just happens. I was like, dude, that was hilarious. I'm sorry. I've been laughing. Like, I literally can't get that image out of my head. It just brings a smile to my face. So, yeah, there are things we like about this movie. It sounds like we're trying to dunk on this film. We're not, because there are things we liked about him. Those things we've mentioned. A lot of the characters that get introduced in this movie, I feel like the more interesting characters in this movie get like chopped off. Like they just get nixed. And then it leaves us with the less interesting characters of the movie to carry the rest of the film. And I think that is what does not work for this movie.
I'll also say if you're a fan of a specific popular, I don't even know what genre, but popular band from the 90s / early 2000s, then you might love this one too, because that is the second half of the movie basically.
So there's two bits of trivia here. I actually looked this up on IMDb. The first one is actually pretty interesting. Rachel Zegler actually replaced Jenna Ortega in the lead role due to scheduling conflicts.
I've never really seen Jenna Ortega in a role like that. Well, I guess her character in You, kind of.
Oh yeah, I still haven't seen that show, but yeah, I forgot she's in that. And also, out of the main cast, Mason Gooding and Eduardo Franco were alive during the events of the film. Gooding was 3 years old and Franco was 5. And Miles Robbins, who plays Nugs, was 7. And Daniel Zogardi was born about a month after the film's events, and that being the year 1999. So it is kind of cool to see at least a few of the cast members of this film were alive during that event. And of course, Devin and I were alive during that event as well. So how old were you in 1999, by the way? I can't even remember. I'm terrible with math.
4 years old.
You were 4. Oh, okay. So yeah, you're right in between Gooding and Franco.
Yeah, definitely not a memory of mine.
Yeah, like I said, I was 7. Yeah, I was 7 years old. So yeah, Miles Robbins and I plays Nugs, 7 years old. There we go. Boom. We found the connection, Devin. We found it. Nugs was definitely
I just realized he's the son of Tim Robbins.
Is he? Oh, okay. Nice.
I can see it now.
Yeah, I actually, as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, dude, he was born 5 days before me in 1992. Wow. That's crazy to think about. Awesome. Well, I have a almost celebrity birthday. But Devin, let's get into our final thoughts and our ratings of this film. What are your final thoughts and ratings for Y2K?
Yeah, final thoughts. Great concept. And for the most half or so of the movie, the first half, great execution for the most part. Like I said, I like the design of the machines that are taking over. I like the kills at the party. Like there are some great looking kills. I just think it went in a direction that felt completely different after that, and it could have been a very cool idea, but I think they just didn't really. They kind of wrote themselves into a corner, didn't really know where to go, it feels like, and that's where the movie kind of sags off in the second half, and it kind of leeches on to one singular idea surrounding a member of a band, and
it was a good song.
I mean, it was funny, like just the initial shock of it, and then it became too much of a shtick, and then the ending.
It's kind of like if they would have dropped just like Clerks, like the cast from Clerks in the middle of this movie,
and then had them become the main character they're focusing on,
basically, which
is what happened here. But yeah, overall, I mean, I had fun with it. It's really dumb, but it has funny moments, like we mentioned. You can obviously tell he knows what he's doing when it comes to comedy. And I think there were definitely some horror elements there that could have worked if they were like stretched out a little bit instead of just the first initial like half of the movie. But yeah, I think definitely needed a rewrite or something like that, just another look over. But I think overall. I'd probably give it like a 60 overall. Like it's not horrendous. Like it's definitely watchable. It's entertaining, but it definitely needed some work.
It is a film that you can watch with your friends, and it's an hour and 30 minutes. I don't remember if I had mentioned that earlier, but it is an hour and 30 minutes, which is a perfect runtime. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but the pacing, it's kind of all over the place depending on what part of the movie that you're in. But I do agree with Devin. It is a fun time. It's just, I wish I liked it better. And I think Devin hit the nail on the head where it's the direction of the second part of the movie is when things get a little messy. And I hope this isn't the last like Y2K film that we've seen, but I'm a little disappointed that this actually came from A24 because, after seeing like something like Bodies, I know that wasn't Devin's favorite movie, but like it was still fun and enjoyable. Like I can go back and rewatch that. I don't know if I can do that with this, but this definitely is one of their weaker films that came out this year. Possibly the weakest, just from what I've seen so far. And when I say weakest, as in just the least enjoyable from the A24 2024 film release schedule. But I would also go with a 60 out of 100 on this. Like Devin said, it's not like unwatchable. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's just I wish I would have liked it better. And I wish this definitely feels like a first or second draft of a movie. I feel like this film would have been so much better with a little bit more time in the oven. And with all that said, that does conclude today's episode. Since Devin and I both gave this movie a 60 out of 100, we're just going to go with a 60 out of 100 for our official podcast score. If you like what you heard, subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Make sure to follow us on Blue Sky, Threads, Twitter, Instagram, all that social media garbage at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. And remember to share an episode of our podcast with a fellow movie lover, whether it be your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Spread the love for the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And now let's take a sneak peek of what's coming up next on the show. So we have Sonic 3 coming out. Mufasa prequel, possibly. I don't think Devin's going to go see Lord of the Rings because he doesn't watch fantasy.
We got Craven this week.
Oh, dude, don't remind me.
We're hunting.
No.
We're hunting people.
I saw Aaron Taylor Johnson in a movie this year already, and Nosferatu, it's a good one. I watched it last night. Very, very good. Like, it's up there for sure. I need to watch The Beach. Baba Yaga. The Vitch with Anya Taylor-Joy, not Aaron Taylor Johnson. But yeah, so those are just a few upcoming releases. We did Venom 3. I guess we have to do Craven. I really don't want to.
Gotta complete the Holy Trinity this year.
Madam Web. Yeah, Madam Web, Venom 3, and this other one. But as far as new review releases, you can check out our Gladiator 2 and our Wicked review. You can also check out our most recent review as of recording of this video, December 9th, 2024, which is our top 9 must-watch movie picks for you. We go through 9 movies that we think that you, the listener to our amazing show, should be watching. Most of these are indie films, so nothing on the blockbuster side, because we kind of assume that most people are going to go see, the blockbusters. These are more of our personal top 9 movie picks for you guys that we think that you should watch this year. But with all that said, thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That helps us placements on those respective platforms. And stay connected with us by following us on all the social media garbage I mentioned earlier: Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, you name it, for the latest updates. That was Devin, and I'm Christian, signing off. And remember, life is like a movie, so go out there and make it a blockbuster.
Peace.